Uh, you know what? Before I get into this, let's just bring in the man who knows about all this. Ladies and gentlemen, before I talk about the playoffs, the new voice of the Vols is Mike Keith. Good morning, Mike.
Steve, how are you?
Buddy, I'm doing good, but before we talk about your new job, let's talk about the NFL playoffs this weekend. I was just going into that. Texans.
Okay, good.
Yeah, Texans at the Chiefs tomorrow, 4:30 on ABC. What do you think?
I think the Texans certainly have a chance because of their pass rush and because of what they're going to be able to do to Mahomes without having to blitz potentially. I think that'll be one of the questions for the Chiefs is can they protect Mahomes? On the other hand, the Chiefs' defense is outstanding. Steve Spagnuolo will have an excellent plan for C.J. Stroud. I think the Texans are going to have a hard time winning this game, but the Chiefs have not run away and hidden from anybody this season. They haven't scored a lot of points. So if the Texans can hang in, they might be able to bite the Chiefs, understanding that Kansas City all year long has played with fire and has gotten lucky every single time they needed to. Does their luck run out at any point in these playoffs?
Excellent point. Now we've got tomorrow at 8 o'clock, tomorrow night on Fox, will be the Washington Commanders at the Detroit Lions. Mike Keith, what do you think?
I think Detroit wins this football game. I think Jaden Daniels is a talented player. I think he can give anybody trouble at any point, and he could certainly do it tomorrow night. But I just think Detroit's got way too much for Washington in this ball game.
Totally agree. And then Sunday, 3 o'clock, it's the L.A. Rams, of course, winning, and that, as you know personally, all the logistics going to NFL games, moving that to Glendale, Arizona. They win there all over the Vikings, but they're going to play in Philadelphia Sunday, 3 o'clock on NBC.
This one is a real toss-up because the Rams are better than what everybody thinks. Most of us haven't seen a lot of the Rams this season because they just haven't been involved in that many games that have been either nationally televised or spotlight games that most fans would be that interested in. This is a better fundamental team than what you know, and they've got a quarterback in Matthew Stafford who can handle any environment. So I think it's kind of an interesting matchup. I think the Rams could go in there and win. It's really hard to pick against Philly at home, though.
All right, and finally, it's here's speaking of spotlight games, here it is. Ravens at the Bills, Sunday night, 6:30 on CBS. What do you think?
It's the best game. Yeah. I mean, hands down, it's the best game. I think it's for the AFC Championship.
Yep.
I think the winner of this game goes on to beat whoever comes out of the other game next week. The Ravens are the hardest team to stop in football if they're on. If they are on, Steve, nobody's beating them because they can score from anywhere, any way, anytime. And because they do so much of it with the run game, it allows them to dominate in a way that no other team can. On the other hand, you've got Josh Allen, who has had an MVP season, much like Lamar Jackson, and he's carrying a football team that really believes in itself right now. And on top of that, Buffalo has the better defense.
Are you a busy man?
Games that we used to watch when we were kids that goes 35-31, somebody wins it. But yeah, I mean, this is the get your popcorn ready game for sure.
There's no doubt about it. Now the official introduction. Mike Keith is the new voice of the Vols. And, of course, Mike doesn't need a lot of introduction, but I'll give him one anyway. Mike Keith is, I was actually there, joined the Tennessee Radio Hall of Fame in 2020, the Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame. He's a 11-time Tennessee Sportscaster of the Year. And he was the voice of the Tennessee Titans from 1999 until this year. And then the announcement made recently that he is the new voice of the Vols. And Mike, I equate it to almost like a state government position in Tennessee because it is so important to legions and legions of fans. One of, in my opinion, the best radio network in the nation, the Vol Network, but definitely one of the biggest. Mike Keith, congratulations. Is it a dream job for you, buddy?
Absolutely, Steve, and thank you. It truly is. It's truly a great opportunity to return to the Vol Network, to have an opportunity to be the lead announcer, to sit in the chair where four other legends have sat. I mean, it's without question, it's a dream job and a wonderful opportunity to be able to make the next move and enjoy being part of everything that's going on at this university right now, which just has so much momentum.
Mike Keith joins us, new voice of the Vols, and I'm just reading a little bit here that you were at age 7. Your dad used to take you to the football and basketball games, and of course you attended UT. Tell me when you got hired by John Ward. Tell me about that.
I was 19, and I worked at the campus radio station. I'd worked for John on a student TV show called This Week in Big Orange Country, and John had done a really nice job giving students a chance throughout his career. He was known for that. He picked between a couple of us for a couple of roles. My role was to be the assistant scoreboard host with Randy Smith. And I was not very excited about that because that meant I didn't get to go to the games. And so I was like, well, they're like, no, you need to take this job. So I did, and paid $25 a game. Eventually, I think I got up to $35 a game. But that was what Ward did, is he gave young people chances, and I'm forever grateful that he did, for sure.
Mike Keith joins us, the new voice of the Vols, and then, of course, just jumping ahead a little bit here, you in in '96, Bud Adams announced that, of course, the Houston Oilers had moved to Nashville and become the Tennessee Titans. But I guess you had a role there in Houston, didn't you?
I did. The last year of the Houston Oilers, we did a pregame show for all the Mid-South affiliates who carried the game. So the radio network had already been set up, and I did a 15-minute pregame show for all of those stations throughout Tennessee, Alabama, Mississippi, Arkansas, Missouri, Illinois, Kentucky. And that was sort of my break into it. The next year when the team played in Memphis, I had a chance to do the scoreboard show, which I did from WIVK in Knoxville. And then in 1998, I joined the team as a full-time employee and did color commentary for the year we played at Vanderbilt before becoming the lead announcer in 1999.
What are some things, Mike, with, of course, your time with the Tennessee Titans, what are some memories that come to your mind?
Well, obviously, the Music City Miracle is first and foremost. The 10-0 start in 2008. The playoff run in 2019 when we eliminated Tom Brady and Bill Belichick in their final game together in New England the next week, beating a heavily favored Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens in Baltimore. All of those things really jump out to me as some of the greatest memories off the top. The other two things that really stand out, having two 2,000-yard rushers in Chris Johnson and Derrick Henry. Two of the 9 guys to have ever done it played for us, and so that was obviously a great thrill. And then anything related to Steve McNair. That was, he was the ultimate player for us, and I say that not trying to offend anyone else, but I think most everyone who's been around that organization understands that Steve McNair was the heart and soul.
There's no doubt about it. Mike Keith is the new voice of the Vols. All right, Mike, so talk about, as you take on this role next football season, what are if you had a couple of things, maybe a couple of goals taking over, as I said. This is a extremely important position in this state. What do you make of it? How do you come into it?
Humbly. I mean, I think that's the first part of it is you come into it understanding what the Vol Network, and Steve, as you've described, I think you lay out very accurately what it means to people. So I get it. It's about the Vol Network. It's not about me personally. I'm going to be the lead announcer, and so you're going to hear me the most, and I understand that. But I also understand that from the start, it's taken a team of people, and that's what I was raised in the Vol Network, is there were always a lot of really good people involved. The Vol Network's not broken. We're not going to take it all apart and do everything completely differently. But there are some things that we're going to do to sort of push the Vol Network forward in a way that it's accessible to more people. And, that means kind of shaking up the different products that we offer during the course of the week and being able to help the radio stations that form the network even more and sort of meet them where they are in different spots. And then in terms of the Saturday broadcast, with some of the changes that have happened, particularly with more night games, and I think it's going to stay that way for Tennessee. I think Tennessee's probably going to play 7 or 8 night games a year. You've got to think about how does that affect your audience? How does that affect the radio stations? All of these things will be factors in what we look to do.
Mike Keith, and Mike, I will tell you, buddy, there's a lot of excitement when you were announced in Cleveland, Bradley County, in this area, southeast Tennessee. Everybody excited. Everybody just thought you were the perfect choice. And as Mark Wiedmer said in the Times Free Press, our buddy down there, you're coming home. It's a coming home party. It really is.
Oh, well, thank you so much. And Mark Wiedmer's a good guy, so I appreciate that. I lived for 4 years in Ottawa. When I started going to Tennessee games, we were living in Ottawa.
Oh, wow.
And so, that area means a great deal to me and my experience. And, I can assure you that what Bob has done coming to different parts of the state and spending time with people and making sure that our radio stations are taken good care of, that doesn't change. And that I hope that level of service and that level of commitment to community, that's been a hallmark since Lindsey Nelson, and that's not going away.
Mike, but here's what we need, buddy, from you, and that is Kessling is absolutely horrible to me. He is mean. Bridget, hey, I want you to meet Bridget Forrester. Now, here's another example of Kessling, and of course he's losing it. But he thinks Bridget's name is Brittany, and I've never corrected him.
Is that right?
Yes. And he comes down here once a year. Everybody fawns over him, cries and everything, and then he gets free stuff, of course. And then, but he's terrible to me. He's horrid to me.
Steve absolutely deserves every bit of it.
No, I don't.
Yes, you do.
So I'm hoping that you, as a true professional, will come in and be nice to me. I mean, I didn't do a thing to that man.
Oh,
and he's horrid to me.
Well, Steve, I can assure you and Brittany that I will.
There we go.
That I will continue all of Bob's traditions in the way Bob has laid them out.
Oh, no!
I've already set a meeting with him for this morning to get more intel on how things have gone at WCL. and because I just talked about it. We have to follow Vol Network tradition, so I'm going to make sure and do that.
Mike, hey, buddy, no kidding. Congratulations. We are so happy for you and your family and to be working with you. It's a true pleasure.
Well, thank you so much. I'm excited to do it. Thank you for having me on the show, and most importantly, go Vols.
Go Vols. There it is. Mike Keith. Mike, thank you, buddy. Have a great day. Great weekend.
All right, thanks. Bye-bye.
See you, buddy. Now, that's a good start.
He's great.
No, that's